What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 22 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got 2 picks wrong and got 22 right, which is a 95% win rate. Yes guys, you heard that right, 95% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 95% win rate and get 22 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord to meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure you join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $1,800 just yesterday, and another member who won $175 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, a link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to eJeter4710 who said, I'm all in, let's do it. Shouts out to the Survivor88 who said, I just signed up. And shouts out to Shalevsky9357 who spammed up the goat emoji. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So, the first pick we're going to be talking about is none other than Marina Mabrey, and this one is for 4.5 rebounds, and this one is for less. Now, looking at Marina Mabrey, we actually have seen her go in the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Looking at those 5 games, we see on August 12th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries, had 3 rebounds there. Then, August 14th, faced off against Chicago, had 5 rebounds. August 18th, faced off against Indiana Fever, had 2 rebounds, and 6 rebounds against Washington Mystics on August 20th. And then had 7 rebounds against Mystics again off a back-to-back on August 22nd. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, Marina Mabrey and, Connecticut in general, but Marina has actually gone in the under in 2 out of the last 5, and her average over the last 5 is also 4.6. So, slightly above this line, but nothing really too crazy in that sense. Now, we do know Connecticut Sun do have themselves a very good matchup against none other than Chicago Sky. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams, but looking at where both these teams do stand, starting off with, Connecticut Sun, we do know that they actually rank 13th when it comes to the WNBA. So their overall ranking is, last. And on top of that, they also rank last in the Eastern Conference, which has been tough for them there. Now, they actually have a record of 8 wins and 27 losses. That's a 22.9% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 6-12 from home, 2-15 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak. Now, they are facing off against none other than actually Chicago Sky, as we've mentioned. And Chicago aren't really doing too well as well, because Chicago Sky find themselves in the 11th spot in the WNBA and also rank 5th in the Eastern Conference. So, it is a little bit interesting to see there. Chicago Sky have a record of 9 wins and 26 losses, has a 25.7% win percentage, and on top of that, they are 5-13 from home, 4-13 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. Now, looking at this matchup even further, and looking at where Chicago Sky actually rank defensively, we do know Chicago Sky do rank 7th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So, Chicago Sky do rank pretty mid-tier, but a big reason why we do like the under for this situation here is that when we look on a per position basis, we do actually see that Chicago Sky do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds to the guard position. Now, if we look at one of the most recent games in the last 5, we did see them face off against Chicago. Now, Marina was able to, get a little bit of luck on the draw because she was able to get 5 rebounds in that matchup. So she was able to go on the over by 0.5, which I thought was is fantastic for her. But coming into this next one, we are expecting Chicago Sky to make some adjustments and to have her go on the under here. So, for that reason, we do very much like the under for this one. When we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have our favored for the under as well. So, that works out in our favor there. So, Marina Mabrey, 4.5 rebounds for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Chelsea Gray. So Chelsea Gray, great player, and this one is for 10.5 points, and this one is for less. Now looking at Chelsea Gray, we do know she has done a fantastic job for the Las Vegas Aces, but we have seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, you see on August 14th, faced off against New York Liberty, had 13 points there. Then August 16th, faced off against Phoenix Mercury and actually had 16 points. Then August 18th, faced off against Dallas, had 10 points. After that, actually on August 20th, faced off against Atlanta, had 8 points, and then 12 points against Phoenix on the August 22nd. So it was pretty interesting to see. Obviously, Chelsea Gray and the Aces have definitely done, a pretty decent job. And Chelsea Gray has gone on the under in 2 out of the last 5. And her average over the last 5 is actually 11.8. So slightly above this line. Now, when it comes to this matchup, Las Vegas Aces face off against none other than Washington Mystics. Now, as you all know, looking at both of these teams, starting off with the Aces, we actually have seen Aces really be on an absolute hot streak as of lately, because they now find themselves in the 3rd spot in the WNBA. So they currently rank 3rd in the WNBA, which is fantastic to see from them. But on top of that, what we also do see is that they also do rank actually 2nd in the Western Conference. Now they have a record of 23 wins and 14 losses. That's a 62.2% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 14-5 at home, 9-9 from away, and are currently on a 9-game win streak. You heard that right, guys. 9-game win streak. So Aces have been on quite a roll as of lately. They have been able to string along some wins, and they were at one point actually ranked 10th, and they have been able to claw their way back now into the top 3. Now, they face off against Washington Mystics, where unfortunately, Washington Mystics have had a little bit of a different scenario, because we actually have seen Mystics drop quite low, because Washington Mystics now currently rank 10th in the WNBA. Not only do they rank 10th in the WNBA, but they also rank 4th in the Eastern Conference. They have a record of 16 wins and 20 losses. That's a 44.4% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 10-8 from home, 6-12 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at, where both of these teams do stack, it is a little bit different in the sense that they both are in different conferences. But coming into this matchup, we do also know that looking at, Washington Mystics defensively, we do see Washington Mystics do rank 6 when it comes to points allowed. So they actually rank pretty well when it comes to restricting points, I would say in the higher mid tier. But a big reason why we do very much like this situation is that we do also see when it comes to Chelsea Gray, she is a guard, and what we have seen is that Washington Mystics actually do a fantastic job at restricting points to the guard position. So for that reason, we definitely do very much like the under for this situation here. Now coming into this matchup, we also have seen when it comes to Chelsea Gray, she has faced off against much easier teams as of lately, no disrespect to them, but we have seen her be able to take advantage of, easier point matchup teams, and she was able to score pretty big. But now we do believe that it has brought this, kind of line a little bit too high, that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the under for this situation here. We definitely do very much like this situation for Chelsea Gray. So Chelsea Gray, 10.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about none other than actually Allisha Gray. So, Allisha Gray, another great player, and this one is a fantastic one because this one is actually for rebounds for actually 4.5, and this one is for more. Now, this one's an interesting one. We actually have seen, Allisha Gray go on the over in actually 3 out of the last 5 games, which is fantastic to see. Not only have we seen her do a fantastic job, but what we also have seen is that when it comes to Allisha Gray, we have seen on August 14th, faced off against Seattle, actually had 11 rebounds there. Then August 16th, actually faced off against Seattle again off a back-to-back, had 5 rebounds. And in that matchup, actually, next on August 18th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries, had 3 rebounds, 6 rebounds against Las Vegas Aces on August 20, and then 4 rebounds against Minnesota Lynx on August 22. So, when it comes to this matchup, it is definitely going to be an exciting one because we do see that Atlanta Dream face off against New York Liberty. Now, obviously, we have seen Allisha Gray over the last 5 actually average 5.8 as well, so which was interesting to see there. But on top of that, we do know, looking at both of these teams and where they do rank, starting off with Atlanta Dream, we have seen Atlanta do a great job so far this season, but Atlanta Dream do rank 2nd in the WNBA. Now, the reason why this is so prevalent is because when it comes to Atlanta Dream, they currently rank 2nd because they actually knocked off the team that they're facing off in this game, which is New York Liberty. Liberty actually did have the number 2 spot, but when we actually did see some of the most recent games, we have seen Atlanta be on a little bit of a great run, while Liberty are on a little bit more of a poor run, and now Liberty find themselves in the number 4 spot in the WNBA. So, starting off with Atlanta Dream though, ranking-wise, we did mention they rank 2nd in the WNBA, but also rank 1st in the Eastern Conference. They have a record of 23 wins and 13 losses. That's a 63.9% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 11-5 at home, 12-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. Now, they face off against Liberty, where Liberty have actually, struggled a little bit, but they still have a record of 22 wins and 14 losses. That's a 61.1% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 14-5 at home, 8-9 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So it has been pretty interesting to see there. When we look at Allisha Gray and also, New York Liberty, the matchup there. Looking at New York Liberty, when it comes to rebounds allowed, we do see Liberty rank 13th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So if you don't know, that is actually last. So because of that, we do very, very much and are confident on the over for this situation here. This one's kind of a no-brainer to us. Liberty literally ranked the worst when it comes to restricting rebounds, and we definitely see that playing a huge, huge part coming into this game. For that reason, we are definitely liking the over for this one. When we look at someone like Allisha, what we have also seen when it comes to, actually Allisha Gray, we have definitely seen her do a big job when it comes to her usage rate being very, very high. And even the time that she has missed it, she's gotten very, very close, which shows that her consistency towards this line is very good. Now, Liberty also like to play really fast-paced type basketball, and that's what definitely led to them allowing a lot of rebounds. Even they allow a lot of points and assists. So I think the Liberty pace that they do like to run, it is definitely going to push Atlanta Dream, which will put more pace in the game. And as we all know, more pace means more volume and more opportunity for Allisha Gray to rebound. So for that reason, we do very much like the over for this one. When we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have our favorite for the over as well. So it works out in our favor there. So Allisha Gray, 4.5 rebounds, 4 more, I think is a fantastic pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Nas Hillmon. So as you all know, Nas, great player for none other than Atlanta Dream, and she has done a fantastic job for them because we have actually seen her average 8.3 points, 5.9 rebounds, 2.2 assists, and 0.5 steals. So we actually have seen her do a fantastic job there. Now, coming into this matchup, as we all know, Nas Hillmon is a great player, but we definitely have seen her do a fantastic job so far this season. We did see, Nas with Atlanta Dream do a great job because she actually has led this team very well. And before we get into the rankings, I do want to mention who they face off against, because we actually do see Atlanta Dream face off against none other than the actual New York Liberty, which is going to be a very, very exciting game. And the reason why this will be an exciting game is because looking at their rankings, we do know Atlanta Dream has actually taken the number 2 spot in the WNBA. Not only do they have the number 2 spot in the WNBA overall, but we also have seen when it actually comes to Atlanta Dream, they also rank 1st in the Eastern Conference. So they actually rank very, very well. We do see they have a record of 23 wins and 13 losses. That's a 63.9% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 11-5 at home, 12-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. Now, they face off against none other than New York Liberty, as we've mentioned. But looking at New York Liberty, Liberty do actually rank 4th in the WNBA. Liberty have fallen quite a bit. They were actually in the number 2 spot, but Atlanta Dream were able to, kind of take them over. And on top of that, Liberty do rank 2nd in the Eastern Conference. So only just a couple of games ago, Liberty was actually at the number 1 spot in the Eastern Conference, but they have been overtaken by Atlanta Dream. So it is definitely going to be a very, very competitive game. And looking at New York Liberty, we do know that they actually have a record of 22 wins and 14 losses. That's a 61.1% win percentage. And on top of that, they are also 14-5 at home, 8-9 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. Now, when it comes to this matchup and Nas Hillmon, we also do see when it comes to New York Liberty defensively, we do know they rank 7th when it comes to points allowed, 8th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. We also know that they rank 13th. So, interestingly enough, we actually have seen, Liberty actually do a very, very poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists, even though they are, a fantastic team when it comes to their record and where they do rank. A big reason for, New York Liberty's success is they do like to push the ball, but the fact that they do like to push the pace and push the ball as much as they can, it does lead to a lot of points, rebounds, and assists for the other team. So that's why coming into this matchup for someone like Nas, we do actually like the over very much for this situation here. Hillmon is a great player, but a big thing about this is that when you actually look at Nas Hillmon, we also do see, when it comes to her usage rate over the last 5 games, it has been pretty well. We do see on the 14th, faced off against Seattle Storm, had an 85-75 win there with 7 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists in that matchup. Then on the 16th, faced off against Seattle Storm, had an 80-78 loss with 6 points, 7 rebounds, and 0 assists. After that, on the 18th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries, had a 79-63 win in that matchup with 12 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist there. Then on the 20th, faced off against the Las Vegas Aces, had a 74-72 loss with 1 point, 4 rebounds, and 0 assists there. Then on the 22nd against Minnesota Lynx, had a 75-73 win with 2 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at Nas Hillmon, we actually have seen, Nas actually go and do a very good job, especially against easier matchups. And that's what we are expecting in this next game for someone like Nas Hillmon, especially for this Atlanta Dream and New York Liberty matchup. So we definitely do very, very much like the over for this situation here. We aren't really expecting, someone like Hillmon to actually struggle there. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for someone like Hillmon coming into this matchup. So keep an eye out for her line. I see a lot of value there to go on the over, especially if the line is under her averages. Now getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Sug Sutton. So Sug Sutton, great player, as we all know, for none other than Washington Mystics. Not only has she done a fantastic job so far this season, but we also have seen when it comes to Sug and the Washington Mystics, we have seen Sutton actually average 7.6 points, also 1.7 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and also 0.9 steals. So we have actually seen Sug do a fantastic job for this Washington Mystics team. And when we actually look at Washington Mystics, we find them in a really interesting situation because we actually do know that the Mystics face off against none other than Las Vegas Aces. So it is definitely going to be an exciting game there. Now looking at the Aces as well and looking at where they actually do, rank when it comes to both of these teams. Now looking at and starting off with the Mystics do actually have the 10th spot in the actual WNBA overall. So they do a pretty decent job. They actually have a record of 16 wins and 20 losses. That's a 44.4% win percentage. They're also 10-8 at home, 6-12 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. On top of that, when you also look further, we also do know that they rank 4th in the Eastern Conference. They do rank pretty decent. Nothing really too crazy, but definitely pretty decent there. And they face off against none other than the Aces, where the Aces do have a bit of a different situation because the Aces do come in at the 3rd spot in the WNBA. So the Aces have actually kind of picked up the pace a little bit. They actually, starting off early on in the season, they were a bit lower in ranking. They have been able to string along some great wins. And, just talking about their records, you'll definitely see why. But they do currently also rank 2nd in the Eastern Conference. They have a record of 23 wins, 14 13 losses. That's a 62.2% win percentage. On top of that, they are 14-5 at home, 9-9 from away, and are currently on a 9-game win streak. Yes, you heard that right. 9-game. That is honestly insane. So, Aces have definitely been on quite a roll as of lately. They've been able to pick it up very, very well. Now, when it comes to actually, Sug Sutton and also the matchup against the Aces, when we look at the Aces, we do actually see Aces still do rank 9th when it comes to points allowed, 9th when it comes to assists allowed, and you guessed it, 9th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So they do actually rank the same in all 3 categories, but on top of that, they also rank very, very low. Now, the reason why we do like the over for this is due to the fact that Aces still do a pretty poor job defensively. Now, a big thing that, Sug Sutton has been able to do lately is really take advantage of poor defensive teams. Now, coming into this matchup, we do very, very much like the over for this situation here. Now, when it comes to Sutton, we have definitely seen her do a fantastic job over the last 5 games, but we also do know that Aces do like to push the pace and push the pace as much as possible, and we are expecting them that since they push that pace, it could definitely lead to a lot more volume from someone like Sug, whether it's points, rebounds, and assists. Now, looking at Sug Sutton and the Washington Mystics, we do know the last 5 games we have seen her play pretty well. On the 14th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries, had an 88-83 loss with 15 points, 1 rebound, and 7 assists there. Then on the 16th, faced off against Indiana Fever, had an 88-84 win with 13 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists there. Then on the 18th, faced off against LA Sparks with a 95-86 win with 8 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists. And then on the 20th, faced off against Connecticut Sun with an 80-69 loss with 7 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists there. After that, on the 22nd, faced off against Connecticut Sun again off a back-to-back with a 67-56 loss. So it has been pretty interesting season for Washington Mystics. They actually have been fluctuating when it comes to their rankings. But coming into this next one, we do very, very much like this over still for this situation for Mystics, and especially Sug Sutton when it comes to points, rebounds, and assists. So we don't really think you need to focus on any. We just see a lot of value there to go on the over, especially for someone, like Sug Sutton. So keep an eye out for the line. If the line is under averages, then definitely look to go on the over. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Saniya Rivers. So Saniya Rivers, great player for none other than Connecticut Sun. And when we look at Saniya Rivers, we have actually seen her average 8.3 points, 2.8 rebounds, 2.8 assists, and 1.6 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at someone like Saniya Rivers and Connecticut Sun, we do know that, there is going to be a very, very good matchup because, Connecticut Sun do face off against Chicago Sky. Now, looking at where both these teams do rank, unfortunately, no disrespect, but this is kind of the battle of the bottom teams because Connecticut Sun do actually rank 13th when it comes to the WNBA. So they rank very, very low. On top of that, they also rank last overall and last in the Eastern Conference. Now, they face off against another Eastern Conference team, which is Chicago Sky. And unfortunately, Chicago Sky aren't really doing any better. Sky do come in at the 11th spot in the WNBA. And on top of that, they do also come in the 5th spot in the Eastern Conference. So it's definitely been a little bit tough there. Now, when we look at Chicago Sky and also their ranking, we do know, and looking at Saniya Rivers as well, starting off with Connecticut Sun. Connecticut Sun have a record of 8 wins and 27 losses. That's a 22.9% win percentage. On top of that, they are 6-12 from home, 2-15 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak. And they face off against Connecticut Sun, where Connecticut Sun do have a record of 9 wins and 26 losses at a 25.7% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 5-13 from home, 4-13 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Saniya Rivers, we have definitely seen her, do a pretty decent job, throughout the regular season. But looking at both of these teams, it's definitely been a very, very tough season for both. And looking at where Chicago Sky rank defensively, Chicago Sky rank 11th when it comes to points allowed, 10th when it comes to assists allowed, and when it comes to rebounds allowed, we also see that they rank 7th. So for someone like Saniya Rivers, we actually have seen her, do a great job against poor teams. And coming into this net matchup, we are expecting the same thing, as Chicago Sky are a very, very poorly defended defensive team. So for that reason, we do very much like the over for this situation here. Saniya Rivers is a fantastic player, and on top of anything else, what we also have known is that when it comes to Saniya, we have seen her also do a fantastic job against poor teams. As we look at the last 5 games, we see on the 12th faced off against Golden State Valkyries, had a 74-57 loss, but had 9 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Then on the 14th, faced off against Chicago Sky, had a 71-62 win with 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists there. And then also 3 steals just to add to it. Then on the 18th, faced off against Indiana Fever, had a 99-93 loss, and also had 15 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists there. Then on the 20th, faced off against Washington Mystics, had an 80-69 win with actually 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist there. And then on the 22nd, faced off against Washington Mystics, had actually had a 67-56 win with 7 points, 1 rebound, and 4 assists in that matchup. So it has been pretty interesting to see, but when you also look at their matchup against Chicago Sky, when they played them, we actually saw Saniya Rivers be able to go over on her rebound and assist line and just missed out on the points line by 0.3. But coming into this next one, we should definitely see her be able to adjust and go on the over in this situation. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the over for someone like Saniya Rivers coming into this matchup. Now getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about none other than Meesseman. So Meesseman, great player, has done a fantastic job for New York Liberty as she comes in at a great average of 13.9 points, 6 rebounds, and also 3.9 assists. So she's done a fantastic job for Liberty. We do know this is her rookie season. She's been absolutely doing a fantastic job for them. And looking at Liberty, we do know that they have themselves a very intense matchup against Atlanta Dream. Like we mentioned earlier with this matchup, this is a battle of, the Eastern Conference, because looking at New York Liberty do actually rank 4th in the Eastern Conference. But on top of that, we also do know when it comes to Liberty, they also rank 2nd in the Eastern Conference as well. On top of that, when you look at, Atlanta Dream, which is the other side, Atlanta Dream are also in the Eastern Conference, but they come in at the actual 2nd spot overall, but also ranked 1st in the Eastern Conference. So it's definitely going to be an interesting one there. Now looking at this matchup, we do also know, looking at both of these teams, Liberty have a record of 22 wins and 14 losses. That's a 61.1% win percentage. On top of that, they are 14-5 at home, 8-9 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. They face off against Atlanta Dream, where Atlanta Dream do actually have a record of 23 wins and 13 losses, has a 63.9% win percentage. They're also 11-5 at home, 12-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game winning streak. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Obviously, looking at both of these teams, both teams have definitely done a pretty decent job for their, teams. But looking at this matchup more in depth, we do know Atlanta do rank 3rd when it comes to points allowed. They also rank when it comes to assists allowed. They rank 2nd. And then they also rank 1st when it comes to rebounds allowed. So obviously looking at this, we do know when it comes to, Atlanta Dream, they actually do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists. And that's why coming into this game, we do very much like the under for someone like Meesseman. Although she is a great player, we are definitely expecting the under for this situation here, due to the fact that when you look at someone like Emma, we also are expecting a lot of defensive pressure against her, due to the fact that Atlanta Dream also do a fantastic job against the center position. So we definitely see that playing a huge factor there. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the under. Now looking more in depth in this, we do also know when it comes to actually Meesseman, we do also know that over the last 5 games, on the 13th, faced off against LA Sparks, had a 105-97 win with 24 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists there. Then on the 14th, faced off against Las Vegas Aces, had an 83-77 loss with 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists there. Then on the 17th, faced off against Minnesota, had an 86-80 loss with 10 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists in that matchup. Then on the 20th, faced off against Lynx again with an 85-75 win, where she had 13 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists in that matchup. Then against Chicago with a 91-85 loss on the 22nd with 5 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists there. So Wnba Meesseman is a great player, do not get me wrong, but there's definitely times when you actually look at her stat line and she definitely does struggle a little bit against, higher intense defensive teams. So that's why coming into this game, we do very, very much like the under for this situation here. So keep an eye out for the line. If the line is too close to our averages, then definitely look to go on the under.